Saturday morning, 12th of November. Now, you might have seen and heard yesterday how some agency drivers who deliver parcels for the internet giant Amazon are working illegally long hours and under so much pressure that they admit to driving dangerously. Well, in an investigation, the BBC was told one driver had fallen asleep at the wheel and another admitted to having several crashes. So what's it like to be a driver who delivers for Amazon? BBC Inside Out sent an undercover reporter to work for AHC Services, which supplies drivers to Amazon Logistics. Here's a day in his life as a delivery driver.
My first job was to get a van. You can use your own van if you've got one, but I hired one from AHC Services for £205 a week, including insurance, but it wasn't in great nick. I asked the mechanic to check it over, and he found some problems.
There's excess play and wear on the offside, the driver's trotwood end, which renders the vehicle dangerous to drive. Because if that joint pops out, you completely lose the steering. If that steering was to fail, it endangers other people's lives, other road users' lives, and also pedestrians, because if that steering fails, you've got no control of the van whatsoever, and it's horrendous to think what could happen.
I told AHC Services about the problems with the van, and they swapped it for another. Drivers are expected at the depot in Bristol between 7:30 and 8 a.m. Because I was new, I was delivering about 100 parcels a day, but most other drivers were delivering between 150 and 200 a day. We spent about an hour sorting parcels before getting on the road, but sometimes it took longer, especially because of problems to do with a Rabbit, which is the handheld device that works as a sat-nav and scanner. So it's 20 to 10, just leaving the depot. I couldn't really have left any earlier. I had problems again logging into the Rabbit. Let's try about 3 different accounts, several times each, which probably wasted 20 minutes. Not my fault. I'm almost an hour in. I've only just finished my first bag and I couldn't have done it much quicker. Yeah, it's not looking good for finishing on time so far. As a driver, you have to attempt to deliver all the parcels. If you don't, you might fail your route, so you risk not getting some of your money. Next address. Feeling hot and sweaty. I'm beginning to feel a bit tired. You get about 3 minutes or less to deliver each parcel, which I found tough. I obeyed all the rules of the road, but was considered too slow. I spoke to one AHC supervisor who admitted the need for speed.
It's not a job for everybody. Some people, you've got to be prepared to put your foot down a little bit in some cases.
But then, we put our foot down, we're self-employed and it's our licence on the line,
exactly,
isn't it?
Yeah, that's the whole reason why everyone's self-employed. You're your own responsibility, really.
A delivery driver is breaking the law if he or she is on duty for more than 11 hours a day. But I worked for longer than that on each of the 7 days that I worked, sometimes over 13 hours a day. This puts drivers under lots of pressure. One guy said he was doing 120 miles an hour on the motorway. Others told me they don't wear seatbelts. The one thing within people's power to finish at a reasonable time is to do things like driving quickly and not wearing a seatbelt. And you really can't blame them.
Well, following the programme, the Bristol West MP Charlotte Leslie has been offering her thoughts. The Amazon depot in Avonmouth is in her constituency.
It is really important that we get under the skin, particularly of large corporations and small, to see where these employment malpractices are going on. It absolutely shouldn't be the case. And the more people are allowed to get away with it, the more they'll think they can and the more they will. I know that Amazon and the contractor have said that they're reviewing practices, but I have to say the response they've given is a little bit familiar. Everything is awesome, everything is fine, and we're changing a few things. I think this absolutely needs to be scrutinised. I'm afraid people do need to be held to account. This isn't on, because if you let people get away with stuff like this, it just encourages more bad practice, and this is dangerous, really dangerous.
She also called on companies to change their culture and to insist on having happy and healthy employees.
It's obviously vital that we have the right working regulations, but if companies aren't adhering by these, people aren't going to be protected. This is absolutely vital. I'll be very interested to hear what they have to say. But it's no good saying lessons have been learned. We need demonstrations that they've been learned. But also, I'd like to see a change in culture where Amazon and their subcontractors actually want their employees to be healthy and happy and actually want people on the streets to be safe from their drivers. This is a cultural thing, not just about ticking some boxes.
Well, Tim joins me in the studio. Tim, obviously AHC want to have their say. They've sent us a statement, haven't they?
They have, and it says AHC takes road safety and the welfare of its contracted drivers extremely seriously. Our vehicles are thoroughly tested on a regular basis by an independent mechanic. Drivers are closely monitored to ensure that they have the necessary training and insurance and that they adhere to AHC policies and procedures. Many of the allegations that the BBC has made are historic and based on isolated examples which occurred over a year ago. Since then, we've made changes to the way our checks are carried out and taken a number of steps to improve our ways of working.
What do Amazon have to say about this?
Well, they've also sent us a statement. They've told us we are committed to ensuring that the people contracted by our independent delivery providers are fairly compensated, treated with respect, follow all applicable laws and drive safely. We require delivery providers to ensure that drivers use roadworthy vehicles. Our delivery providers are obligated to ensure that drivers do not spend more than 10 hours per day driving. Over the last 6 months, the average on-duty times for drivers in the UK was 9.1 hours per day. Sophisticated software is used to plan delivery routes and take into account several variables, including speed limits and daily traffic patterns. And as independent contractors of our delivery providers, drivers deliver at their own pace, take breaks at their discretion, and are able to choose the suggested route or develop their own.
Thank you very much indeed, Tim. Now, if you missed last night's show, you can watch it again via the BBC iPlayer. You can just search for Inside Out West.
BBC Radio Bristol.